Okay, second grade. We're going to read, really, we're going to just read the Sneetches. This book is the Sneetches and Other Stories by Dr. Seuss, but we're just going to read the Sneetches today. Maybe we'll read some other stories. We'll see. We only have a few more weeks of school left. Now, the star-bellied Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain-bellied Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big. They were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-bellied Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort, "We'll have nothing to do with the plain-bellied sort." And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right past them without even talking. When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You could only play if your bellies had stars, and the plain-bellied children had none upon theirs. When the star-bellied Sneetches had Frankfurter roast, now Frankfurter's just another name for hot dogs, or picnics or parties or marshmallow toast, they never invited the plain-bellied Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-bellied Sneetches were moping and doping along on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean. And I've heard of your troubles, I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that, I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you, I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like the star-bellied Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside, and then the big machine roared. It clunked and it bonked, it jerked and it burked, and it bopped them about. But the one thing really worked. When the plain-bellied Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. Well, just a shame, you snoozy old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneetches and they are the worst. But now how in the world will we know?" They all frowned. "In which kind of way will the other way, if which kind is what or the other way round?" Then up came Mr. McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who? That's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches, and it'll cost you $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip of my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on bars." And that handy machine worked very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then with snoots in the air, they paraded about. They opened their beaks and they let out a shout. "We know who's who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star? Now it was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean, he invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guess, things got into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day, on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines, they raced round and round again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money. They kept running through until neither the plain nor the star-bellies knew whether this one was that one or that one was this one, or which one was what one or what one was who. Then when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car at the beach. I'll never will learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. But Mr. McBean was quite wrong. I'm quite happy to say. The Sneetches, well, they got really quite smart that day. That day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day, all the Sneetches forgot about the stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. So this story is one that actually I was introduced to last year by, you might know Nathan in 4th grade this year. He was in 3rd grade last year. And I really liked this story because it makes you think. It makes you think about, why do we want to be like everyone else? You know, the Sneetches that had stars, number one, they acted really proud. And they act like they were better than the ones without stars. And that's really not the way we should be to honor God. And I know that you're not going to go put a star on your belly, but sometimes you think because you have nicer shoes, you live in a nicer house. Maybe it's because of the video game system you have. It depends. You know, each person thinks something's important, and those are just things. And really, it's who we are. And we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and I've told you that before, and you know Scripture tells you that God made each of you with a special purpose and a plan, and not one is more important than the other. And so these Sneetches learned something very important. The ones that were bragging, you really can't brag about things that God's given you. And the ones that were sad, I mean, God's created us the way that we are and the life that we have, and we shouldn't really want what someone else has. We should be content with what we have and who God made us. That doesn't mean we shouldn't do our best and strive to do better each time, but we shouldn't want to be like someone else. Be the person that God created you to be, and be willing to not look down upon others. Be willing to accept others and to see them really. I know we don't have the eyes of Jesus or the heart of God, but really the only person we should try to be like is Jesus. We should try to look like him and act like him, not about Sneetches on beaches with stars upon theirs, and not about shoes and not about things. Boys and girls, I really want you to A, be content with what you have and not try to be like someone else. I want you to celebrate who God made you to be. And I also, if you can do something well, maybe it's sports, maybe it's school, I want you to remember that we shouldn't be prideful, and we should know that each person has a gift and talent, and we need to value each person the same. So think about that this week, and until next time, keep doing your studies, and just know that I miss you, and I miss being able to be in person reading these stories to you, but thank you for letting me come into your home. Bye.